On to race 2, World Squared. She's taken on stronger.
Yeah, look, you can't really look at her form and judge her based on that. She's better than what she is. She really is. But she didn't enjoy the poly at all, and I think she'll really enjoy being back on turf, and she's working very well.
Sharon, in race 3, you have Twin Falls and Royal Agree.
Yes, Twin Falls is a really nice filly. She's done, she's run some nice races for me, but unfortunately, when the merit rating system went up, she got penalised on the Cape Town merit rating. So to me, she still has to drop a few points. But in saying that, she has come down a couple of points. So she is a very honest filly, so she should be thereabouts. Yeah, Royal Agree, we're trying the 1,600 metres for her. She has been a little bit disappointing. But in saying that, she did have a very high merit rating through most of her career. And I think that, she's getting on in age as well. So we are going to try the distance with her, and she has dropped down quite a bit. So we're just trying it out.
Fool's Garden, well, she's consistent as the day is long, always doing very well, and she's in the right sort of race once again. Alphabet Street, she needs to be up her game rather and improve a little bit. She's a little bit on the back foot at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's only reason she had a break was because we went on to Polly, and she's just shown a preference for the turf track, the softer kind of track with the long running. She's working very, very well. Her last run on turf was a good run, but it is a strong field. She comes in at the bottom end of the weights, but she'll be thereabouts.
Race 3, Susie Mayweather.
I love my Susie. No, Susie is great. She's working incredibly well, looking awesome, expecting a very good run from her.
2, 1, rolling.
Great to have you with us, Glenn, and you kick off in race 4 with Pearl Tiara.
Yeah, look, it's a long way to come to get beat by your brother, who's come from Natal, which is even further. But I thought it was the right race for this filly. She never cracks the draw, and I thought that we could give her a chance and let her run on with this lovely long straight. But I think that my brother's filly's really impressed me during the Natal season. I really thought she's a smart filly. Anyway, look, my filly's a huge giant of a filly. She must weigh close to 600 kilos. So she's travelled well, and hopefully she'll be competitive.
Yeah, rings and things, I think, of the 3 fillies is my pick of the yard there. She's very consistent. She didn't shine last time against the boys, but she's done nothing wrong before that, and I think she's a big runner. Shakri's coming back in distance and a little bit up in class. She's a daughter of Rat Barana, and she's also there in consistency and thereabouts, but it will be her first run for a short while. Woodstock Fairy, nice filly, and anything can come of her. I think she could be a surprise package.
Yes, Nadine, her first run was on the poly over 1,200. It was far too quick for her. We're now putting her in the mile. She's done a mile before, but her best distance is a 14 on the turf. But with a lightweight, she's got to have a chance.
On to race 5, Cherry Pop and Kentucky Blue. Cherry Pop down nicely in class, and Kentucky Blue running very consistently.
Yes, Kentucky Blue's been a really nice filly for me. She's super honest and expecting a really good run from her. And Cherry Pop the same. The last run was second run coming back after a bit of a layoff, so she was a little bit flat at the end, so I am expecting better from her.
Yeah, Jungle Fairy, she's in a good place. We brought her back to a mile. We tried sending her further. It didn't really seem to suit her. Pulled a bit too hard. So back on the turf, over a mile. She has done well in the past, so we're expecting a good run.
Yeah, Paris Bliss is another filly that is going to enjoy a nice galloping track. I've been bringing her back short in distance, and last time out the jock got off and said, look, you've got to put this filly further and she'll win. Give her a chance, don't race her up there. So she hasn't got the draw, so I thought I'd do that, again for the long run in. And so we'll give her a chance, and I think she'll be running on really strongly. She's been running against some really strong company, and I think she's in the right race.
Yes, Stream of Kindness has really taken to the Eastern Cape situation and weather, I don't know, or maybe it's just the poly, and today, or on Sunday, we will be trying her on grass and see how she goes on the turf. But all her runs so far in the Eastern Cape have been on poly, and she's really revelled on it. And hopefully she can bring that form onto the turf. WATSONIA, she ran on nicely. She is going over a bit more ground. She ran on strongly last time over the 1,300, and we're going now 1,600 and see if she can shape. But all things pointing, it could be a nice finish between the two horses.
very disappointing last time out. She's a quirky filly. One day she eats well, next day she doesn't eat. Very temperamental, but on a day she can gallop with the best of them. I'm just hoping to bring her back to herself nicely on the grass. She will run with little blinkers on just to make her concentrate. Last time out she just didn't travel and wasn't in the mood to race, so I'm just hoping, this time around on Sunday she decides she's in the mood, and lightweight, she could also run into the money.
2 starts ago, she ran a cracker, beaten a length or 2. Jock came back, he said, please put over ground. I had in the weights over sprint. I thought, try the blinkers, see if it works. Ran a reasonable race, but now run a turn, long straight. I think she'll run a cracker.
Quite a busy race for you is race 6, where you've got all of Ben-Hur, Coyote Creek and Valentinic.
Yeah, Ben-Hur, he was a bit flat his last run. We're hoping for an improved run on his last one. Then Valentinic back on the turf. He hasn't been there forever, so don't know what to expect, but he is working well. And Coyote Creek, bit of a muddling run last time, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Yes, Counting Stars, the 1400 on the grass, I think is better suited for him. We have been running him on the poly because we've had that whole poly season, and he has managed to hold his own. So I am expecting a nice run from him. QUERARI Viking, coming back off a long holiday. So he's a pretty decent horse. So if he doesn't need it, should be giving quite a nice account of himself.
Yeah, Arabian Dynasty's having his first run after a layoff, and he might just need it. He's a big burly horse, and he didn't take his winter well, but he's looking $1 million at the moment, and I haven't given him any hard gallops or anything like that, so hopefully he'll take it maybe a bit on the sharp side as well for him. Then we've got Seville, who I thought has been really unlucky in his last start, and maybe the time before as well. Also going up to a 1400, and if he can, he's also seemed to be better since we've put the blinkers on him. And then Green Lantern, he's lost his form a bit. He's slowly coming back to form. He is a summer horse, and he does enjoy the summer. He doesn't really enjoy the winter.
Yeah, Nate's a new horse. I'm just trying something new with him. He came down in nice condition from Mark and Adam. A lovely horse, lovely to have Brian in the yard. He moves well in himself. His earlier form, you could see for yourself, is pretty decent, but he's obviously got his little issues. And I'm just trying to get him to a happy place, and hopefully he improves down here.
Parahandy's next up in race 6, and he didn't really enjoy the poly in his last.
Yeah, his first 2 starts were over 1200, which was ideal. We tried him on the poly, but he hasn't got any speed, and it just didn't suit him at all. We will try and keep him off the poly, and I've been dying to try him over the 1400. He's got no gate speed, and he does his best at late. So now he's in the 14. It's not a good draw, but it's not serious because he comes from off him anyway. So I'm expecting a good run.
The much vaunted Via Seattle, who did you so proud in Johannesburg, with a former Aussie inmate, Mrs. O, and then Dancing in Seattle, who looks really smart.
Yeah, it's a tough little race. Dancing in Seattle is on the up. Mrs. O hoping for improvement. And like I say, Via Seattle, good run last time. She's definitely on the comeback. She won't be too far away.
Cloud Lattice, last time blinkers on the poly over the 13, she grabbed hold of the bit and she was gone. So I've cut her back in trip. She does race turf and poly, it's not an issue. But a strong field. I think CARLITA we all got to beat at the weights, so she's a decent filly. But I'm hoping for a place chance with her. Get Your Grove on. Last time up the straight, she ran a decent race. Then I put her around the turn on the poly. She didn't enjoy it at all. She didn't enjoy the corner, very tight on the surface. She could run into the back end of quartets.
Yeah, well, you start off with CARLITA. She's done nothing wrong. She's been honest, and she loves the course and distance, and she's always there and thereabouts in the finish, be it a normal race or a feature race, and she's got a good turn of foot in the end. LILY THERESA ran a good race last time, just getting touched off, and this will be her second run since relocating here. Via Sacra, she's been off for quite a while. She might just need this run. She had an abscess in the back of her leg, and took its toll on her, but it's all okay now, and she's working well, but maybe she might just need this run. The exciting and interesting runner would be Outlander Steermore. She's a very capable filly, and she's very well weighted with 52.
No, look, it's a very, very strong field. I was hoping to carry min weight, but then unfortunately jockeys was a bit of a thing, so she's going to have to carry a bit of plus weight as well. Look, she's an honest filly. She always does her best, so can't count her out really.
On to the big one, the Algoa Cup, and Cat Daddy's in fantastic form. Duck de Orange, not to be discounted.
Look, I think that we waited to win it this year, and I think that's the key to this race. Cat Daddy's coming in with great form. You know, the other day we gave him a run, and I really never expected him to get that close with top weight. He had literally had one gallop from the Natal season, and we gelded him, and so he's really, I think he's made length improvements since we've gelded him, and I think he's the horse to beat. He's doing exceptionally well. He's again travelled very well, and then Duke d'Orange. He's come up here from probably the worst draw of the lot. I think he's drawn 17 out of 17, but he ran a fabulous prep run, and I'm pleased with the way he's come on from that. He's a big bull of a horse, and he's going to love a galloping track. He has been once 2,000 metres. It was on the Poly. He was still finding his feet. We were tucking him in, and I think he likes to gallop. And in Durban, they were going way too slow for him. I think here in PE, they go a decent pace every time, or just about every time. And we'll keep him wide, and then hopefully bring him across and get in, stay out of trouble. But as long as he's using that big action, I think he's going to absolutely lap up this beautiful track here. And we end with a big shout. You know, we've got two really competitive runners, and please God, we bring home the trophy.
I think the main focus of attention from Brahm this weekend is going to be the Cox Plate, but I'm sure he's happy to have Mangrove represent you in the showpiece for older horses here in PE.
Yeah, he's probably a bit out of his depth with some of the horses that are coming down here, but he's an honest campaigner. I don't think he'll do himself any injustice. I think he'll run an honest race.
You think there's going to be a good pace in the race? Because obviously staying is his forte.
Well, if there isn't, he'll make his own pace.
Yeah, Ollie hated the Poly, but we had to get these 2 runs under the belt to keep him fit for the Algoa Cup. He's now over his best distance, but he's taking on a very strong field, unfortunately. But he's back on the turf, 2,000, so we're hoping for a good run.
He's absolutely flying, mate. I've prepped him for this race, and he's well in himself. Very well weighted, with a lightweight over the 2,000, but up a huge step in class. But he gives of his best, no matter what class he runs in, and he's good and sound and working well. So, we're taking our chance.
In the big one, Algoa Cup, definitely a very tough race, but you've definitely got PE's darlings in the way of Onesie and Frikkie.
Yes, Onesie ran a cracking short head second last week. Took the run very well. As you know, there's lots of raiders, so I opted to give a little gallop last week. Very unlucky to have been beaten, but long straight. Horse of the year last year. I think she'll run a cracker.
And Frikkie?
Yeah, he's an old campaigner. To me, he shouldn't be that class yet. I ran a short head second with what's called Key Castle a couple of years ago. My owner Vimpy that year said to me, "You will go for the Algoa Cup. I want a runner." And I thought he was smoking his socks, but we got beat a short head, and a bit of luck could have won that race. I'm the last local trainer to have won the Algoa Cup with what's called Surfing USA. I've got 2 tickets, and you never know.
And then, of course, highlight of the day, the Soccer Sync Toraya Africa Algoa Cup. And here you have the fillies Just Chaos and Seeking Wisdom.
I think the Algoa Cup is a very, very difficult field. But if you haven't got a ticket, you haven't got a chance. Both my fillies have pulled very good draws, and both of them have nice light weights. Seeking Wisdom, as you know, is really honest. And Just Chaos, well, she's her worst enemy. She loses it at the start, but we have been working on that. So, I can just be hopeful.
In race 9, Sir Caleb could be interesting over the trip again, and Alamito Bay is always thereabouts.
Yeah, Alamito Bay ran a decent race last week. Just couldn't get up on the early speed from the draw, but ran on late. I think the type of race he is with apprentice claims going to put him in the race, plus drawn where he's drawn. So Caleb, if you look at the ratings, it's a right race. I waited for him because of his rating, and he's a speedy fella. 1,000 metres, I think it's probably his best trip at this point in time. We've got away with a bit further, but when they went hard and he was able to switch off. So I think he's got to be a runner.
You've had Via Seattle, Dancing in Seattle. Now it's Autumn in Seattle in race 9 with Self Assured, which is definitely named after you.
Well, Autumn in Seattle, I think it's one of our better runners on the day. His form isn't outstanding, but he's come really good now this time of year. I think he's going to run a huge race. Right kind of race for him as well. And Self-Assured, also, strange run last time. Didn't know what to make of it, so we thought we'd run him back and see where we are with him.
Yeah, she ran last week as well. Filly, a couple of days later, took the run well once again. Not that I can race against the boys, but how often do you get an option or a chance to put a striker straight on the horse? So when I saw the field cut down to not too much and he was available, I grabbed my chances.
May is as honest as they come, and he'll be running for you in race 9.
Yeah, very consistent. Probably better over 1200, but he did get a killer for running second, so we opted to run him here while he's off his old rating, and he's always got a chance.
Well, let's start with Stop Thinking of Me. She's really a tough old girl, and she's had a lot of racing, but she's sound and she's always thereabouts, finishing her races off strongly. And you never know when she's going to pop her head up, but if things go right for her, she's always in the finish. Shepherd's Delight ran on strongly last time, and the 1,000 meters will suit her a little bit better when she likes to quicken off a fast pace. It is grass and not poly, which is a little of a concern because she does seem to do better on the poly. Dame Commander, well, she's always there and thereabouts. She's run against stronger company as well, and I think she'll be a big runner.
I'd like to say thank you to the way trainers who took the time to talk on the telephone and break down their runners' chances. And we're going to start with Naty Cotson, who steps out in race 3 with Amex. And he was really hoping that she'd have an each-way shot, but he'd just like to point out that she didn't travel as well as he would have liked. So perhaps a side on the caution there regarding her. Race 4, Master Keys, is probably his best runner of the day. And in race 7, Tommy Grand in the Algoa is working very well, but it is a very competitive field. As far as the Cape trainers are concerned, please bear in mind that these comments were given prior to travel. We start with Candice in race 5. She steps out Tattooed Rocker, who will enjoy the longer home straight. The blinkers go on, and Candice does feel that she can get a look in. On to Andre Nell. In race 4, Silver Dazzle will represent him, and she comes off a bit of a rest. Hated the heavy going last time out, put up a fair gallop last week and is coming back to form. He does feel that the field is strong and from a tricky draw could be a problem, but she will enjoy carrying 52 kilos. In the Algoa, he's represented by 2 very useful sorts in the way of Run Red and Chrome Yellow. Run Red is a honest type, bit of a bad draw unfortunately, but galloped very well last week with the horse that came out to run a cracking second and a pinnacle. After that was Capoeira. He is perhaps best suited to 1800, but has won over this trip, and if he gets a little bit of luck, he is a runner. He has taken on stronger than this before. Chrome Yellow is in very good form. The prep has gone very well leading into this, and he is a legitimate 2,000 meter horse. Knights Templar, he does feel could have them beaten at the weight, but he himself still has to prove himself over 2,000 meters. He does feel that Chrome Yellow will enjoy the softer going, so might be some rain in his favor. Last of all, to touch on trainer Brett Crawford, steps out American Landing, no stranger to these shores. He walked away with the Derby, and that was his last win, so he might just enjoy being back in Port Elizabeth. And Brett does say of him that he's very well as himself, he's working well, and a good run is expected.